Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Cities Skylines 2. Today I'm going to be going over the best tips and tricks to go ahead and try to fix the issues within your city, or for you to go ahead and prevent issues whenever you're trying to expand your city. Now, no matter what, you're constantly going to be having issues within your city, but there's a way to mitigate and there's a way to go ahead and lower the risk of you having certain issues. Now, if you haven't watched my other videos already, I do have a video on my channel that goes ahead and explains how to get the medium and high density demand within your city. As you can see, my high density demand is almost as high as the low density demand is right now in the city, and we're going to be expanding on that as well. However, we do have a lot of issues within the city where people are saying, hey, I have high rent. So high rent can mean one of a few things. So either you can come in here and you can see that they're uneducated and educated, so that means that they're not getting the best job opportunities, which makes it harder for them to go ahead and pay for things. There might be one person within the household that's only educated. So you might want to go ahead and set some things up for these people to be able to get on public transit to go to places where they can go ahead and get higher education or put higher jobs around them, such as offices and such, to go ahead and make sure that they're getting better pay. If you go ahead and do that, that will sort of mitigate the issues that you're having with it. But no matter what, you're going to have people complaining about it. We have 68,000 people within the city, and there's probably about 40 or 50 of them that complain pretty much consistently. So it's just something that you got to watch after and mitigate. However, there will be times whenever you zoom in and you'll look at the house and you'll be able to pull up the grid and you will see that it is a large house. So if you were to go ahead and grid that out into a 3x3 instead of a 4x4, whenever they build back in, most commonly they're not going to have that issue, and it will go ahead and mitigate what's going on there. So this guy here as well, large house, we'll go ahead and bump him down to actually a 2x2 and hope that that fixes him as well, because one of the big things that you want to go ahead and look out for whenever you're building small residential is how high is your land value. Right now we're at $39,000 a cell. At $39,000 a cell, it gets pretty expensive for people whenever you're doing a 6x2, so that'd be 12 cells at $40,000 a piece. That's like $500,000 for a house. That can get pretty expensive for those people to go ahead and build into. Now, whenever you're going to be looking at certain things, you will find yourself staring at a building that says abandoned. Before you delete that building, make sure you go into here and see why they were unhappy. Small homes and high noise pollution. So those people just shouldn't have been living in high density residential, because this stuff is very much so loud and small spaces, and that's the reason why it's high density. It just fits more people within the area. So if you're having issues like that occur, don't really pay them too much mind. The issue of what they're having there was just within themselves, and they shouldn't have really been even living in this area whatsoever. So we'll also want to go ahead and take a look at wherever you're placing your high density and why it may work out and why it may be having issues. And that's the same thing as the low residential. Are you putting the correct gridding next to it? So we're putting some high density in here, we're putting the high density in here, but what's next to the high density that I have? It's going to be high density offices. So if you put high density offices, these are big corporations and stuff that are technically in these buildings. They're going to be paying people a lot of money, need higher education to get into them. Like I said, whenever your education's high, you'll have people move into the city and they'll build into these high density residential buildings, because as they're more educated, they don't care about space as much as they care about money. And if they're making that much money, they want to be into a sector which is quote unquote close and nitty gritty, because that's where most of the money commonly is within city landscapes. Now, another issue that you may be having is that your medical supplies and stuff are not shipping in or not doing too well. So I have a lot of places that are currently saying that there is no medical supplies, and if I went into my taxation and looked at industry and went down to pharmaceuticals, I am just now having some of these guys build in. So I had to lower the taxes insanely within these guys and then we would have to go ahead and delete them and hopefully have pharmaceutical companies build back in, or if we were able to grid out some more of the industry, we would hopefully be able to go ahead and get some pharmaceutical companies built in like that. Now, another thing that you may be seeing within your city and your industry areas and stuff, and it's slowly starting to happen now, is high resource costs. The company has trouble procuring relevant resources at profitable prices. Make sure that if you have not already, that you go ahead and go in and put your city hall down. So import costs go down 2% with that, but your central bank would be your next sector to go ahead and move into. So if we went down into here and we went central bank, we need 8 points to go ahead and get that. That's going to lower the cost for everything coming in from out of the city. So that would be a way to go ahead and fix that for you as well. Also, if you aren't keeping up with welfare offices around the city, that's a good thing to do. It does help out with people in lower density residential to go ahead and pay their bills and stuff. So if we were to put that down over here, they would have less of a hard time to go ahead and pay their rent and sort of things. So you'll get less issues as well if you go ahead and get good coverage within those people on the welfare offices. So notice that there's not a ton of coverage over here in the welfare office sector, so it might be something that you want to go ahead and put down in certain places and just have gridded out for the help of the community. So that's another thing to go ahead and look at and take care of. Now you're going to see that you might have abandoned buildings coming up around the city in an industry instead of residential. This does not tell you why the building is abandoned, but most commonly with industry it's going to be because they had too high of cost or something coming in, and it was just hard for them to go ahead and procure a profit within their business. So that's one of the big things that's going to happen within the industry sector, but it's a little bit different than the residential and commercial, because those guys will tell you why they abandon. These guys will not tell you why they abandon. I do believe we're coming up on the 10-minute mark, so the last thing that I would have to go ahead and say is if you're trying to bring money into the city, make sure that you work towards getting the coal power plant. The coal power plant is going to cost you $600,000 a month. Normally don't move into it until I'm about level 11 or 12. Until then I buy energy up until that point. But if you go into our energy sector and look at how much we are producing compared to how much we are sending out, there is a huge surplus. We're exporting 198 megawatts per month, which ends up profiting us within the electricity sector 138,000. Garbage management, we got $1 million that we're going ahead and actually making off of it, and they did fix the garbage sector, so it does a little bit better. So that's one thing to look at, as well as we have the incineration plant, and the incineration plant can actually get add-ons and stuff to it, so we'd actually be able to make more money off of that if we truly wanted to. So that's one thing to look at as well. I do the incineration plant and the coal power plant, and you produce enough electricity to make a huge dent inside of making all this money and stuff. So I'm thinking that's going to be the best tips and tricks that I can give to you. If you're looking to get your tourism up, I'll add in one bonus fact here. If you're looking to get hotels and stuff within your city, so if you go into here, you'll see there's some pink buildings that show up. They're under the commercial tab, and they're going to be the high density commercial. These guys will go ahead and create hotels if your city attractiveness is within a good range. So we have 5,000 tourists a month coming in here. Average hotel cost is $1,000 a night. So if you truly wanted to go ahead and make it easier on some people, you would build in some more hotels and hope that these guys show up as a hotel or maybe something of the sort. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. It's hard to say what's going to happen with them or what's not going to happen with them, but we try to get the best possibility out of these guys as possible. So those are just another way to go ahead and take a look at that stuff. If you're looking to get your city attractiveness up and do it quickly, satellite uplink is very good. And then if you want to bump it up to over 100, the best thing that you can do is go to the Chirpac space station or the International Airport. International Airport is plus 10% attractiveness citywide, and so is the Chirpac Space Center. So just one of the things to go ahead and look at if you're trying to make some extra money in your city. Tourism does bring a ton of money into the city, and it does help out some industries. So those are some tips and tricks for trying to make your city the best place possible. Sometimes they work, sometimes they don't. You just got to go ahead and see what works best for your city, but that's what I found out helps me the most in sort of mitigating the problems. There's always going to be problems, but we try to just mitigate them. So thank you guys for watching. I hope you guys enjoy your Thanksgiving and have a good one. I'm out. Peace.